What were the pluses of being a model, and what were the negatives of being a model?
Well, the pluses were certainly the income that one could generate in such a short period of time. The minuses, you know, everybody always says that in the modeling industry there's all this crazy stuff going on with drugs and you know, bulimia and anorexia and all. I never really was exposed to that. I mean, granted, you know, drugs were around. It was the 80s. I mean, it was just prevalent in every capacity, but it wasn't really that prevalent in that area. So I wouldn't really say there were many negatives.
So you wouldn't have people saying you're too heavy or you need to lose more weight?
Oh, I see what you're more like that. Well, yes. I mean, you know, I would go in and they would say I was too big. My chest was too large. My lips were too thin. You know, was too. You know, there was this whole wave of women that were like, they wanted to gravitate more towards ethnic women. So of course, I being more of like the 1940s, 50s, you know, Aryan-looking blonde, it was just like not really something that they didn't want that look anymore. So you were constantly criticized, put down, but I really think it built my spirit.
Really? So it didn't affect your self-esteem? You don't feel like it made you feel less? Because you always hear about the modeling industry and how it can tear down lives, build lives. I mean, I think the money's appealing, but, you know, and I know it's probably today a very different industry than it was when you were doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, I think that at the beginning I was very sensitive, but, you know, something, you fall down, you wipe off your knees and you keep going, you know? So, I mean, I knew that for every 3 jobs I was denied, 1 I got. So if I kept going along and having the endurance and the belief in that I can continue to work, I mean, I sort of, after a while, grew a very thick skin, and it didn't really bother me any longer. As a matter of fact, I used to laugh at some of their comments, like, well, screw them, you know.
Well, good for you. I think that that's awesome. I think that that shows a great deal of strength and inner strength that you have. Did you ever do any catwalk modeling?
Oh, God, yes. That seemed to be like 80%
How do you do that walk where it's like foot, foot, foot? How do you do that?
Oh, you want to see it?
Okay. Yeah, show us how you do the walk. Well, I have always wondered, because I go, that's not human.
Okay. Well, first of all, you have to act like you're walking on a balance beam.
Okay.
And you have to take really long strides and kind of throw your hips out, and then when you have to spot. So you go like this. And then, of course, you look at the audience. And then usually they're like, okay, she's wearing St. John.
Very good. This is our very first modeling demonstration ever at CEO Chick Chat.
You want to see the Dior turn? I remember this fellow that, I don't know if any of you watch the America's First Model, or America's Top Model.
Top Model, yes.
You know that black fellow that's always wacky? I don't know his name. Okay, I had a guy that taught me how to walk, and he was very similar to that fellow. It's like, well, the Dior walk, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh my God!
See how to get that down. Wait, let me see if I can do it. I'm not practicing. 5, 6, like that. But you have to be really, you know, like you're on a balance beam. So anyway.
Very good, very good. That's something I don't think I would be very good at, but I've always watched that walk. Yeah, I mean, no. I can't walk in our office, much less. Very good. That's really interesting. I've always been curious about that walk because it seems like it's a very definitive. I've tried it alone at home, and then I trip over my pants leg and just go, not gifted at it. Well, thank you for demonstrating this. That's really interesting. You never know when those previous skills are going to come back to you. So it's like when you're being interviewed and you have to do the catwalk. So I think that's really interesting. So do you miss modeling at all?
You know something, after college when I went back into it as a full-time career for 12 years, I felt like I had finally, you know, it was a goal. I wanted to get to do everything. I wanted to try to do the best I could, and I felt that I achieved that. So at the very end of my career, I felt like, okay, I'd done this. Now I'm ready for a new chapter in my life and looking for a new career.
Do you think that there's really an opportunity for many women in modeling? I mean, I know so many people go after it. Do you think that that's a realistic industry to pursue? I think it's just for the exceptional.
I think at this time, right now in 2010, no, I don't think that there's the same amount of work available that one can work as a model full-time. Unless, of course, you really make it to the top. However, there was a huge population of models in New York that could work full-time, that were not well known, that were, you know, the fashion designers, the accounts. I mean, we were booked. I mean, I worked like every month. There were some months I worked every single day, and then there were other months where I might work 2 weeks and take a week off here, you know, collectively a few days in between. But we were constantly working. But now with so much of the fashion, you know, designers that have outsourced, and now they have all their goods basically made overseas, you know, and then they come into this country, and then they have the fashion markets across the country. They usually are booking models in those local cities across the country. So it's not like it used to be where, you know, it would all be in New York, and every buyer from the country would travel into Manhattan to buy the collections and that sort of thing.
Interesting.
So,
well, let's go back to your journey through college. So when you graduated, what was your degree in when you graduated from college?
okay, so I stayed with English, and I graduated with a journalism degree. And then right after college, okay, I went into public relations. Back about my junior year in college, I was modeling, and I had done this event at this. There was a Grand Prix that was going on at the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and so I met this gentleman who was a PR rep for a celebrity PR firm called Rogers and Cowan. They're in New York, they're in Beverly Hills, and a few other places across the country. And he was representing some of the race car drivers and Bruce Jenner. And so, I don't know, I went to a press party. He happened to be there. We started to talk. He explained what he did. I said, oh, I'm in school. I'm actually interested in public relations. He gave me his card, and he said, you know something, if you're ever interested in doing a internship in New York, you know, call this woman, Fran Curtis, I still remember her name, and see if you can get in there and work for 6 months. So I did. I mean, I had a real go-getter attitude, you know, and I called this woman up and I said, listen, I met, you know, your colleague, and I'd be interested in an internship. How far in advance do you need to know? Or how do you, you know, book that? So she booked me the following summer. So right after I graduated college, I was still 12 credits shy, but I still had an opportunity to walk through the ceremony. And then that summer, I worked at the PR firm, attained my credits, and then basically graduated college in September. And so my last week of working at the PR firm, they came to me and said, would you like to stay on and be hired as one of our employees? So I did, and I worked at that firm for 2 years.
What kind of PR did you do at the firm?
Well, that was what was so interesting. First of all, I got paid nothing. But at the same time, we were handling the press coverage of like all the known celebrities of that time. So this was like 1986, 87, 88, those years. So, I mean, Morgan Fairchild, Linda Carter, Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd were still on Moonlighting. That was a big account. Live Aid with Bob Geldof had gone on that summer of '86. There were a lot of movies that came out, like Baby Boom. Oh, good heavens. Yeah, I guess I'm dating myself, but these are all in that time frame, right? And oh, it was fascinating. You know, I mean, I would take like Susan Lucci on her press tour because she was launching some video, workout video or something.
That's really fascinating, and I know it's very much a different industry, but you must have learned one, and I think that there's one of those lessons, we always do this at CEO Chick Chat, we take a moment, we say, did you hear the lesson learned here? You took an opportunity that did not pay well, and you had career options that did pay very well, but you saw an opportunity which afforded you experiences and skill sets, which obviously, as we talk, we're going to learn really became all of these components which you're using today for what you do.
Oh, absolutely.
So always think about that, you know, and even as we mentor younger women, share with them sometimes, don't necessarily choose something because it pays more money. Choose the thing that affords you the greatest opportunity and the greatest learning skills. So I think that that was very smart of you to do that, and the connections you made at that time.